Howdy, howdy, howdy. Oh, hold on, let me get this. There we go. There we go. Welcome, guys. Welcome to another Monday evening. Welcome to another episode of Cliff Notes Live. Hope y'all are having a fantastic start to your week. Let me start off with the big old SKD 143. I love my wife. I love my kids. I love reality TV, and I love hanging with you guys every Monday night. I realized as I was putting this together, this is episode number 250 for Cliff Notes Live, which almost 5 years, right? Yeah, 52 weeks a year, pretty dang close. Doesn't seem like it's been that long, but in some ways, here we are. So I didn't have any time to do anything special. We'll do that a little bit later. We got too much other stuff to talk about. Big Brother may be over, but we've still got Amazing Race and Survivor and Special Forces and 99 to Beat and the 1% Club. Y'all watch it. I love watching the 1% Club. I get some of the really hard ones correct, and then some of the really basic ones I screw up on. So it's always tough. It's always fun. But I hope y'all are all doing fantastic. All right, let me see who all's out here real quick, and then we will get into what kind of an open night for all of y'all. All right, let's see. Brian Hosto. Brian, how are you doing, my friend? Marilyn Sutherland as well. Howdy, Marilyn. Big Jake 88, Kennedy Franklin, Karen Loveland. Love seeing all these names out here. Paula Lou 4, Desiree Watts, Karen Hummer. You got all kinds of extra little numbers at the end of your thing tonight. Michelle Moore, Ma. Let's see who else we've got on here. Chris Bozung. Yeah, they've changed us up a little bit for some reason. I don't know why. Sedelica, which I know is Cindy. Hey, Cindy, how are you? Michelle Moore, C. Gabarino. That's going to take some getting used to. Chaz as well. Jaden's Mom for Life. Kent 427. Ryan 51. 43 Huckster. Mark Taylor. I'm not going to recognize some of y'all if I don't see the more official thing. Patty Bell, Rita Case, and I think said 43 Huckster. And I will say it again. How y'all guys doing? Doing all right? It's coming good. All right, Ma, I plan to be on the 300th episode. All right, 50 episodes. Yeah, we could probably make that work, Ma. Hey, maybe. Well, no, you're not quite there. I was going to say maybe you could be on Big Brother 28, and then you could be on the 300th episode in a whole different way. But I guess we need to wait just a little bit longer on that. But all right, 300 episode, I'll put it on the schedule. I'm going to talk about it a little later this evening. I'm going to have some special guests next week. I'm going to start trying to do that a little bit more often now that we're past the prime Big Brother season. It would be fun to reach out to some of the existing Big Brother players from 27 and see if they want to come on and talk. Some of them are a little social media shy right now, and I don't think that's a bad thing. We haven't really seen much from Vince. Morgan's starting to do more talking. Seems like she's starting to do a lot of posting. Ashley's been posting forever. I know Will's starting to do a little bit. Kelly's even doing a little bit. So we're starting to see some folks. So that's kind of fun. I've reached out to a lot of them. I've talked to a few of them and just said, hey, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope don't let the negative Nancy's get to you too much. We all have a few of them as well. Now they get to see what life is like after Big Brother, for good or for bad. Little bit of both. But yeah, I can't believe it's over. But now we got Amazing Race. We've got Survivor. I'm going to have fun on Wednesday. I'm going to a Survivor watch party with Christina from the Yellow Tribe. I don't even remember what the tribe name is, Hinja or something like that. I don't know. They've been shown so little because we've got one tribe that's just the disaster tribe for this season. So yeah, it's been kind of a little slanted in terms of the edit and everything so far. So I'm going to go watch the viewing party with Christina. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it. I met her at the finale wrap party for Big Brother. Such an incredibly nice person. She went to the University of Oklahoma. She may not be in the best mood after the football game on Saturday, but that's all right. We got Survivor. We'll talk about that instead. All right, let's see what some questions, and we'll get into some different topics. Chaz is saying, what do you think of the whole snakebite situation? And Big Jake 88 said, loving Survivor this season. Poor Jake. Isn't that sad? I mean, that guy, there's a part of me. I don't know. It's really rough that he went out the way he did with the snake bite. Now, for those of you who may not be familiar with it, first of all, spoilers. I don't know if they're really spoilers since the episode's already aired, but if you're a little behind, Jake, big old alpha strong guy, looked like he was going to go a long way in this game, got nibbled on by a snake. He said, yeah, it kind of got me on the foot here. Next thing you know, the snakes are like, yeah, they're highly venomous, and can you breathe? And they're evacuating them, and then he just has a bit of a meltdown. You get the adrenaline going on. Yeah, I can certainly see how that would be the case. And next thing you know, he's lucky. Apparently, this thing did not actually venomify him. Is that a word? I didn't actually inject any venom into him, so he was okay. Reading between the lines, it's almost like, hey, if you got in the venom, you'd probably already be gone, dude. So be fortunate for it, but it still created a lot of issues. They ended up pulling him from the game. Now, here's the thing. Now, let me say this before going further. I found it. Sharon told me, and I checked later. We had a few folks that were trying to put some spoilers out there on Survivor, the final, who wins this season. Don't do that, guys. We'll talk about what's happened on the episodes, but I figured there's a lot of folks out here, myself included, who don't necessarily want to know who won the final at the end. So we don't know that, and just hold off on that kind of stuff. And thank you. I think Ma was the one kind of watching that. Ma, thank you for keeping an eye on that and kind of keep it in check. But as rough as it was for Jake to get bit by a snake and have to leave the game, I do know there's two people from season 49 that are coming back to compete in season 50, the All-Stars, the reminiscing season, whatever they want to call it. I'm hoping that Jake is one of those two. Surely he's got to be one of the two, right? That would be the case. The silver lining on this is that his wife was pregnant. How horrible would it be to be playing this game while your wife is giving birth and you miss it? I mean, I get it. He was there to play the game to try to win money for his family and all. I'm not faulting that. But because of this, he got to go home. He got to see the birth of his child. Now I'm hoping he gets to compete in season 50. And if that's the case, hopefully he looks back on this whole thing and says it was the best situation, even though I didn't want it at the time, turned out to be the best possible situation. We'll see. It's hard. When I first started working in the oil field, one of the first big career breaks I suppose I got is my bosses reached out to me and said, hey, Cliff, I was out in West Texas. They said, hey, Cliff, we would like for you to travel down to Venezuela and train up a brand new engineer. You're going to need to spend like 6 to 8 weeks down there, but we would like you to go down there and train him up and get him up to speed. And if you do, it'd be a huge resume booster and we'd be appreciative and all of that, which was all fine and dandy, except that Sharon was about 6 months pregnant or so when that came up. It's like, wow, you're really pushing it here, guys. That's a little rough. Sharon and I talked about, finally said, all right, well, I'm going to go down there because I should be back in plenty of time. And if not, I'm going to be hopping on the fastest plane they may have available. It worked out fine. I got back in plenty of time. And, but I know what it's like to be gone while something that monumental is taking place back home. So yeah, it was rough for Jake. I really just felt for the guy the whole time, but I see good things happening with him. Those old snakes you don't mess around with. I used to think when I was a kid that let's see, Hunter Green saying sea snake bite is very poisonous. I used to hear that if you got bit, if you're scuba diving or something, because I used to do a little scuba diving, not much. I'd like to do some more, but I always heard that, hey, if you scuba dive over in the South Pacific where they've got the sea snakes, if you're down at the bottom and you get bit, you'll be dead before you get to the surface. That may be a little hyperbole, but I also don't want to be messing with any snakes. I don't care if they're venomous or not. If I see a snake, of course, I did see eels before, and sometimes they're not easy to tell a difference until they're right there, and then it's kind of too late. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of snakes. I stepped on a snake when I was a kid. I was a water moccasin, and fortunately, it was more scared of me than, well, I think we were both pretty scared of each other. It didn't bite me, but I actually accidentally stepped on it late in the evening and all that. Kind of scary. And then I remember we were at a lake and we were on a boat. My wife, myself, the kids were both young. They're probably 6, 7, something like that. We're floating along the edge of this lake fishing. So we've got our fishing poles out. I've turned off the boat motor and we're just kind of using a little trolling motor to get where we want to go. Well, unfortunately, we passed underneath. The wind caught us a little bit, pushed us up into a tree. I didn't realize that on this tree that's extending down into the water, there are hundreds of water snakes, water moccasins, water snakes, cottonmouths, call them whatever you want. All of a sudden, when the branches on this tree hit our boat, all these snakes started falling into the boat. My kids are screaming, Sharon's screaming. I'm probably screaming a little bit as well. We all back up to the back of the boat, and on the front 2/3 of the boat, we can probably see 30 or 40 snakes all over the boat, squirming around and doing stuff. And Sharon saying, "Hey, Cliff, you got to go up to you got to go up the steering wheel and get us out of here." It's like, yeah, that's a forbidden zone between the two of those. But we just kept drifting. More snakes are dropping in. So finally, I just gritted my teeth, ran up, grabbed the steering wheel, turned the motor real quick, pulled out of there. Was using my feet to kick him off the boat and all of that. And yeah, ever since then, I kind of have the heebie-jeebies about snakes. I've never thought of it. I think, as far as we know, this is probably the first time that someone's gotten bit by a snake on Survivor. I know on Naked and Afraid, not a contestant, but one of the production people actually got bit by a very venomous snake, and it was an emergency deal, and they survived, but it was kind of rough. But as far as I know, reality TV, this is probably the first. So yeah, it made for a very interesting episode, right? It got my attention. I feel sorry for him. All right, probably way too much information, but just throwing that out there. All right, Cindy is saying, Jag and Jas are killing it on The Amazing Race. Yeah, we'll switch over for that for a second. Chaz is saying, do you think anyone has a chance to beat Jag and Jas? They've been so dominant. They are playing such a great game. It didn't help any because remember, no matter how well they've been playing, you also have Kyland and Taylor who gave them a fast pass. So even if Jag and Jas have that one bad episode where something just goes wrong, they can still just accelerate past that stop. So I think they're looking in fantastic situation. Kyland and Taylor, who are a little bit further behind, may be regretting that they gave the fast pass to Kyler and to Jag and Jas at this point in time, right? I mean, it's kind of rough right now. Mark Taylor saying, who are your favorites on The Amazing Race? Well, I've got to be cheering for Kat and Alex, right? I mean, they're who I would play Big Brother with. Karen Hummer saying, did anyone else laugh hysterically when Kat's boyfriend Alex was on the ice? Not that I would do any better. That was kind of, for those of you who haven't seen it, they had to dress up in full hockey gear. They took a hockey puck, and they had to shoot it into a goal. It wasn't an open goal. There were little gaps that you had to shoot it in. And some people, I don't think it was Rubina, it's her sister, right? I think it's her sister she's competing with. She hit it in the very first time. Probably not what I would have guessed. Alex, on the other hand, took 27 tries or something, if I recall. They had when they put the counter up, you know you're in trouble when the edit shows that. Alex didn't do too well. It's got to be incredibly frustrating. I'm thinking about all this because I could have been on the show, came close and all that. How would I have done, or how would my son have done in that particular competition? Well, I have, even though I'm a kid growing up in Texas, where hockey is not necessarily the big sport like it is up in Canada. And happy happy Thanksgiving Day for those of you up in Canada as well. Angie, I didn't forget. I know y'all got a little celebration going on today. And for the rest of us, happy Columbus Day, Indigenous Peoples Day, National Pulled Pork Day as well. We got a few days to celebrate. But anyway, I actually did take some hockey lessons as a kid. I don't know why. I guess my parents just thought that I'd be more well-rounded to get on the ice a little bit. But my brother and I actually took hockey lessons where we basically learned how to ice skate, how to skate backwards, and how to use a stick to take some shots. So I'd like to think that I may have done okay. Of course, that was a long time ago. And I haven't been on the ice a lot between now and then. Who knows? But yes, Alex definitely had some issues with it. As far as my favorites and all that, I got to be cheering for Kat and Alex. I'm kind of cheering for Jag and Jas. I picked Jag to win when he was on Big Brother, and I still think that he's a very optimistic, very nice guy. His brother, actually, while Jag was on the show, his brother Jas and I talked a little bit. He had reached out, or I reached out to him. I think a little bit of both. Actually, I think he reached out to me after I picked Jag to win, said, thank you so much, and asked me some questions about families and watching the show and all that. So I know Jas a little bit as well. So I'm definitely cheering for them also. Who knows? We'll see. It was so funny this past episode. Now, I think Jag and Jas did a fantastic job because not only are they dominating, but they're also playing a little strategy here. They're understanding that, especially the first half of the season, it's not necessarily about who wins first. I mean, it's nice because you get the extra little bonus and things like that, which is always great. But it's more about just not finishing last. And they are doing well enough. They've been able to create a bit of an alliance between the two of them and Natalie and her sister and Joseph and his brother, I think, right? So those three teams working together, which allowed Jag and Jas to not get the driver's seat, which meant they would have had to assign different duties, different difficulty levels to a duty to different teammates. Instead, they just backed off. They let Natalie do it. So they kind of didn't get the blood on their hands. They actually let Natalie and her sister win this leg of the race, which I think it was her birthday the next day. So they use that as an excuse. But the main thing is it made Jag and Jas look a lot less dominant. And yet they're right on the mat at the same time as Natalie and her sister. So they'll be starting off in fantastic shape for the next episode. I think they're playing a fantastic game. I truly do. As opposed to Matt and his girlfriend, I think still girlfriend, fiance, who just couldn't figure out the directions throughout the whole episode. They spent the whole time in a car driving, right? Did they ever? I guess they did a couple of the challenges, but yeah, did not do so well. I enjoyed that episode though. I thought they had some fun challenges. Watching them plow the fields was pretty funny. But once the first couple of people go and you see where the plows stop, it ought to be pretty obvious where you're going to find your clue as well. So it probably made it a little easier for the people a little bit later and think, but it's still fun. Angie Hung saying, poor Jake. All right, he's from my Providence, Alberta. I forgot that he was a Canadian. Angie, happy Canadian Thanksgiving. No gymnastics today. Angie, you may have missed. I said happy Canadian Thanksgiving already. I hope y'all have a blast with it. I forgot. I did know that Jake was Canadian. I didn't realize he was from Alberta. Well, that makes it that much worse even. But he'll be back. I think he'll be back. All right. Angie's also saying for the amazing race, Canadians are usually taught to ice skate as kids. You're born with ice skates, right? Well, maybe not quite, but pretty quick. Surprised that the Americans are not. We did down here. We didn't have. We do not have now. Maybe up north. I mean, you're talking there. You got the Red Wings. You got a lot of hardcore skating further north, but down here, yeah, not so much. I know a little bit. Those ice skates kill my heels, my archers. I'm never great. You know what we used to do when I was in high school? We would play. I can't remember what it was called. Broom ball. It was basically we'd play it on an ice rink, but we didn't wear skates because none of us had our own skates, and no one wanted. I don't know. We didn't wear skates. Instead of hockey sticks, we had brooms, and instead of hockey pucks, we had, I think, volleyballs, if I recall. And you basically played hockey, but with all of us sliding and falling and doing everything that you do when you're not on ice skates was the main deal. Now, I will say I'm not huge into hockey because I just wasn't raised with it the way y'all Canadians were. But having said that, Miracle on Ice, my probably all-time favorite sports moment of any sports moment ever. The only thing that would even, I can't think of anything that compares to it. Mike Tyson getting knocked out by Buster Douglas. I remember that, but Miracle on Ice with Steve Rozuski, I think that was his name. I just up in Lake Placid, New York. I was at I was old. I was not old then, but I watched the event live and I remember it like it was just yesterday. So yeah, my favorite sports moment of all time has got to be the Miracle on Ice and all that. And I love the rivalry between the Canadians and the Americans when it comes to hockey as well. But yeah, Angie, I have a feeling you'd skate circles around me, literally and figuratively, if we start talking or dealing with hockey when it came down to it. But hey, you never know. Dallas has a team. Houston, not so much. Maybe someday. I don't remember what I was talking about now. The amazing race. Somehow I like the episode. I liked what they did. I like the plowing the fields. I love them having to bottle the beer. What y'all think about that? Rubina getting splashed by the stuff was incredible. And then we had lots of people saying, oh, you got to go slow in order to go fast. And people not quite figuring out. I almost feel like towards the end, they were a little more lax in terms of how they were judging those bottles and everything, just to try to keep people gathered up. But that would be a lot of fun trying to bottle all that stuff and see how well you could do it. I enjoyed that particular competition. All right, let's see. Hunter Green. Taylor Sheridan has a Paramount studio in Fort Worth. Are you excited for Landman season 2? Oh, I'm ready for it. For those of you who don't know, Landman's all about God, what is his name? From I'm married to Angelina Jolie. How do I not remember him? Billy Bob Thornton? Okay. Yeah. He plays a landman working out in West Texas. That's where I spent my early years breaking into the oil field and all of that. A little exaggerated, some of the things that happened, but on the other hand, and Demi Moore's in there as well. Always a huge fan of Demi Moore. She's going to have a lot more role in season 2, I think, but a little exaggerated. But having said that, I worked with and knew people exactly like the Billy Bob Thornton character in that TV show. I swear, there was a cafe. Ours was a truck stop, but there was a cafe we would go eat breakfast at, just like they did, and just the wildest cast of characters you've ever seen, and lots of people, just lots of people in all different phases of life in terms of some people eating, some people doing nothing but smoking, trying to stay awake, and guys grungy from the oil field. It was interesting in the 80s and 90s working out in the oil field, and people were either doing very well or not doing well at all. Oil field goes up and down quite a bit. So yeah, Hunter, I'm very excited for it. It's going to be fantastic, an extra season. So yeah, I'm all for it. Speaking of Tyler Sheridan and all that, my kind of blind spot in terms of movies and binges and all that is Yellowstone. I haven't seen it, or 1863. Is that the other one? We haven't seen it yet. We got to do that now that Big Brother's over. We got to binge a little bit on that. Y'all tell me what y'all think. I've heard so much good stuff about it. So yeah, I've been trying to avoid spoilers as much as I can, which is hard to do, as many seasons as they've had, but we may try to watch a little Yellowstone. If I can ever get past all the reality TV, and as soon as one's over, another one starts back up. All right, Tim Pipe is saying, have you ever been to Midland, Texas? Have I ever been to Midland, Texas? Tim, I wasn't born there, although my mom was born in Midland, but my kids were born in Midland. Both Kelly and Daniel were born in Midland. As soon as I graduated from college, that's pretty much right. I did worked in a little city not too far, but quickly then moved to Midland. So I lived there as a single guy working in an oil field. God, I didn't get paid anything. I mean, I got paid just almost minimum wage, but I worked about 70 hours a week or so, and that's how I made a little money. But yes, I lived out there as a single guy working. Eventually, Sharon and I got married. I moved back out there as a married guy. I raised a family out there. Midland, Odessa is the heart of the Permian Basin, which is West Texas oil field. And it was, we used to have fun out there. They had a little AA minor league baseball team called the Midland Angels at the time, which was just a lot of fun to go to, because these were kids that were just trying to make their way to the pro leagues, to the big leagues. And they'd hit a home run. Everyone pass a hat around and get them a few extra bucks, which made a big difference to these kids. It was just a lot of fun out there. Yeah, absolutely. Tim Salmon played for California Angels for a while. We saw Fernando Valenzuela pitch one time out there. Yeah, good memories, good times in Midland, Texas. It's way out in the middle of nowhere, though. I will say that, but we enjoyed it. All right, what were we talking about? Amazing Race, Survivor. Let's see. Blue Sugi saying, are Kat and Alex married? No, not yet. And I don't want to put any pressure on them either. We went to Ovi's wedding, and it was pretty funny because Nicole and Brian were there. They're married. Tommy was there with his husband, so they're married. And then Kat and Alex were standing there, and Kat was saying, yeah, well, which one of us is not quite like the other? So not yet, but I know they are passionate and love each other, and who knows? I'll just leave it at that. But yeah, no, not yet. But they've dated for quite a while. I've met Alex many a times. What an incredibly nice guy. I love hanging around with those two. It takes a special kind of person to be able to carry the same level of energy that Cat carries into a lot of encounters and a lot of situations. And he seems to be, as long as it doesn't involve being in a hockey rink, he seems to do a pretty good job of it. Yeah, I always love hanging with those guys. It's hard to do something. They're always off gallivanting around. But yeah, when I get the chance, I love hanging out with them. But no, not married yet, but that could change at some point. How far is Midland from Houston? Oh, gosh, that's Texas is a big state. For those of you who aren't familiar, Texas is a big state. From here to Midland, probably 10, 11 hours, something like that. By the way the crow flies, and there's no easy way to get there. You have to drive for 3 or 4 hours just to get to where there's a population even. It's just a very empty, isolated thing. When I first got out of college, not that, when Sharon and I first got married, I had a couple of job opportunities. One was working in Midland. The other was working in a city called Ira, Texas, which is down further south. Ira is so far away from everything. How far is it? It's so far away from everything that the nearest McDonald's was 2.5 hours away. This little town had an Allsup's convenience store and a diner, and that was about it. They had a laundromat. They did have that as well. But it was just a tiny little town in the absolute middle of nowhere, Texas. There was no housing available. All the housing that you had was company-owned housing. You got assigned a house, and it was all stuff from back in the 40s that looked like a former military base, all metal desk and all that. Just y'all can picture the scene, right? Out so far away. And I thought, if I do that, Sharon is going to absolutely kill me. Growing up in Houston, living in Houston, go from there to Iran would have been quite interesting. So we didn't do it. We ended up in Midland. But yeah, it's about 10 or 11 hours when you drive it. So it's a long way to go. And from Midland to El Paso is another 5-6 hours or so. So to get from here to El Paso, it's just a big state from east to west. There's a lot of land in between. And once you get out there, not a whole lot of people. We had fun though, because there's out in West Texas, I know y'all don't care about a lot of this, but they do have the Monahan sand dunes, which looks like it's in the middle of the Sahara Desert, just these huge sand dunes. We went there a few times. Kids get on pieces of cardboard. They slide down these sand dunes like it's a snow hill. We don't have ice and snow down here. We got sand dunes. They had a blast doing that. We went and saw Judge Roy Bean's old saloon and courthouse and all that, just a bunch of stuff. All right, Angie's saying, Celebrity Trader UK is so good. Real celebrities, not housewives and reality stars like the US. Yeah, I'm ready. UK traders, isn't UK Big Brother going on right now as well? I thought I saw something on that. My international reality game is a little lacking. I need to catch up on some of that. Sharon and I are busy watching some Australian reality shows. The Block is a home renovation show that we always watch, but yeah, I got my VPN finally set up, so I need to go check out some of that UK stuff. I've heard the same thing, Angie. I've heard it's incredible. And really, I mean, the last season of The Traders took a lot of the challenges and everything from previous seasons of UK traders. And I almost feel from what I saw and read that UK did a little bit better on that one as well. So yeah, as much as I'm proud of all the reality TV we've got here in the States, we steal a lot of stuff from other folks as well and kind of make it our own. You know, Big Brother wasn't originally US. It was a Danish or Danish. I can't remember which one. Andersall. Anyway, but we kind of took it from them. Change the rules up a little to be on our own. But yeah, I need to check it out, Angie. I got to find a link for it and start watching some of that. I've told y'all before, if they want to call me fantastic, I certainly would do some of these shows. But there's something to be said for having newbies and folks that aren't. Now, you're saying that these are celebrities. They're not the Real Housewives kinds. They're real celebrities. I get what you're saying, and I don't disagree with you either. Yeah, I'm going to have to check it out. All right. Cindy saying, having fun watching Tommy Bracco on 99 to Beat. For those of you who have not watched 99 to Beat, I'm sure you can find it on YouTube or or Fox, probably if you go out to their app, they probably have the past episodes out there. It is so much fun to watch just these goofy little nothing competitions. But if you were the last person to finish one of these things, you're done. And I know the last episode they had one where they had giant slinky springs between two people with a CD in the middle, and you had to twerk, spin your hips just right to get it to go to one person and not to the other person. And they just have fun things. They've had competitions where a giant ice cube, you have to lick your way or melt that ice cube, however you can do it fast enough that you can get to a whistle and blow the whistle that's inside. They had one, and I don't want to spoil anything, but Tommy had one where he had a little difficulties doing a little fishing with those little ducks that float at the carnivals and things like that. Just little trivial things. But every episode we watch, Sharon and I find a couple of things that we're going to try that the next family reunion we have. That would be a lot of fun just to see how well we could do it. So yeah, if you're not watching 99 to Beat, it's kind of the surprise hit. I wasn't expecting anything from it. And I'm pretty excited with it. Tommy's on that. David Alexander is on the floor, although we've been watching and I hadn't seen David make his appearance yet, which is probably a good thing. It means he's going to be coming on later when there's fewer people. But yeah, I got a few folks. And then y'all may not have heard this. I have heard that, do you know the show Extracted, where it's great. You've got 3 people that are competing. One person is sent out into the forest or the jungle, forest, lake, whatever, to live. The other 2 family members or friends watch from a nice air-conditioned, insulated kind of a room, and they can watch everything that's going on, and they control a lot of the fate of their loved one who's out in the wild, because they have to negotiate sending care packages to them, doing some competitions to see if they can get them a big old cut of beef versus just a little piece of beef jerky, things like that. It was a fun show to watch. That was another little one-off that was kind of cool. Well, it's coming back, and I have heard that there could be 2 people that we know on that next season of Extracted. One would be Sandra Diaz, apparently, and the other one, the Queen of Survivor and all that. The other one, Sis, Annalise from my season of Big Brother, that could be popping up on that show. And if so, I so hope that she's out in the jungle and her 2 loved ones are there. Doreen is saying love Extracted. Yeah, we had a blast with it. But yeah, Sis could be on there, and I really hope it's so. I hope she's the one out there that's having to cut through an elk to get her cut of beef and things like that. I'd love to see turn out. How great would it be if Sis is doing that and turns out that she's a mountain man badass, and she's out there starting fires and rubbing sticks and chasing down wild pigs and doing all kinds of stuff. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be fun. It was so tough last season because there were 1 or 2 people who were doing very well out in the woods, yet their loved ones felt so sorry for them that, oh, they're a little hungry and things, that they pulled them. You can't quit. If you're out in the woods, you can't quit. You have to rely on your 2 loved ones inside this room to push a button and extract you. And if you say, I'm miserable, I'm done, I want to be done, doesn't matter till they push the button. On the other hand, you could say, hey, I'm doing great. But if they push the button on you on the inside, then you're done without you having any choice in the matter. So yeah, I've heard the rumors about a few of the extra folks that are going to be on there, and I'm looking forward to that as well. All right, Rooftop Jitterbug is saying, saw Extracted for the first time last night. Well, perfect timing then. All right, now I don't want to spoil too much then. I'm glad I didn't say any more than that. It's good throughout. The whole thing was a great show. So yeah, that'd be fun. I would love to do Extracted. Now, I don't know what I would do if I'm out there competing in the woods and Sharon and say my daughter are there. They may, I don't know. I was going to say they may feel sorry for me and yank me way too early. I have a feeling the reality is that they're going to see me out there saying, he's got a little extra mass to start with. He'll be okay if he goes hungry for a few days, a few weeks, a few months. He'll be fine. Leave him out there. And what's 30 degrees? It's 30 degrees better than 0 degrees. He's fine. Don't worry about it. Meanwhile, I'm sitting there looking like Jack Nicholson on The Shining, just freezing my little tukas off. They wouldn't care if there's money on the line. They'd care. They would worry about it, but they still wouldn't push the button. All right. Sharon's nodding her and saying, yeah, I wouldn't push a button. uh, what that? Renell, Daniel and John. Yeah, I don't know. I missed that one. Let's see. Oh, and Daniel too. Oh, she said Daniel too. Yeah. I I have less worry if Daniel was in there. Daniel could be out in the woods. He was in Boy Scouts. He does wilderness survival. He gets in canoes and just puts in the water and says, "I'll see you in a week," and floats down the Rio Grande. I mean, he's that kind of outdoor person. He would excel with it. So I wouldn't have any problem. Now, if he's in the shed in the room and I'm out in the jungle or the woods, I guarantee he's not pushing a button. I could be the only person left. They could say, "Here, Cliff, here's your check for 100,000 or whatever it is." I could be in the middle of this thing holding raw cash, hard currency, and Daniel would be still saying, "Yeah, let him find his own way back to where we are. He'll be all right. He can read the stars. He'll be fine." Yeah, I don't want him then deciding whether because he's hardcore when it comes to wilderness survival, and he expects his dad to do the same thing. That would be fun though. All right. Let's see. Chris Bozung is saying, Dr. Bose, right? These names are driving me. I don't know why it's changed tonight. I don't know if it was my settings or just YouTube or StreamYard. Is saying, enjoying the show, Next Gen Chef. My niece attends the school. I haven't seen that, Dr. Bose. What channel is that on? Well, we did start watching Hell's Kitchen, which I haven't watched, missed a few seasons, but we're watching it for the current season, as though we didn't need just one more reality show. But I have not seen that one. So please tell me what channel it's on, and I'm going to go check it out. I don't know which bothers me more. The shows with the chefs where they come from I'm a Michelin chef and I've been cooking for Julian Lecousse in Paris for the last 20 years, because you expect them to cook incredible meals that put you to shame. I don't know if that bothers me more, or the ones who, oh yeah, I work as a side fry cook at Denny's, and here's my baked Alaska with a flambéed sauce and cherry reduction and all of that. And I'm sitting there saying, I know how to make macaroni and cheese. When when I got cast for Big Brother, I actually had someone in my family who thought I was going on Worst Cooks in America. That was his level of confidence in my cooking. And thank God I got Sharon. I just put it that way. If it wasn't for Sharon, if it was just depending on my cooking, I would have a whole different body figure. My dad bod would be hungry bod instead. I'm just putting it out there. Cooking is not my forte. I'm so glad we had some people in my season of Big Brother who actually could and were willing to cook. Jessica did some cooking. Holly was a great cook. Jackson Mickey could cook all kinds of food, but trying to get any food out from under him was like trying to take meat from a bear. That didn't always work so well. You had to make sure he got his fill before you came in and got your share. I should say that. It was, I don't have any complaints about the way I ate inside the Big Brother house, but yeah. Don't make me cook. But, although I'll say that I did have to teach some people in my housemates, how to fix macaroni and cheese, which I thought was pretty much right there with boiling water in terms of basic level cooking. Not so much. I did have to teach someone else whose name shall remain nameless, how to boil eggs, how to make deviled eggs, and a few other egg type concoctions. So yeah, some people don't spend a lot of time in the kitchen. All right, let's see what else. We got so off the track here, guys. It's all right. It's that kind of week. Cindy is saying DMVs. I saw that DMV is starting tonight. For those of you who don't know, it's a comedy show about people working at the Department of Motor Vehicles. I think it's already on. I'll have to watch it on replay because I think it's come and gone. It looked like it could be kind of cute, kind of funny. I don't know how much I would want to work at the DMV, and I think that's the incentive for the show itself. I took my driver's license when I was 16. I don't know what it is nowadays. Some of y'all guys who are a little younger than me, let me know. But when I was 16, like the day I turned 16, I was down at the Department of Motor Vehicles taking my driver's license test. And I got all upset because when I got done, the guy said, you didn't come to a complete stop at that stop sign or something along those lines. You came close, not quite. I said, does that mean I failed? No, it's 10 points. You're still fine. Everything else fine. You got your license. So I was very excited about that. and been driving ever since. But nowadays, it seems like a lot of my nieces, nephews, they aren't in a huge hurry to go get their driver's license. It's like, I got buddies that drive, or I got, I don't know, I guess Uber or something. I don't know. It's just a different world nowadays. Cars and driver's licenses represented freedom when I was 16. That's all we thought about. So I had a blast with that. When I was in college, I had a roommate who was from a international student. He was from India and did not have a driver's license, but he wanted to learn how to drive and get his driver's license while he was here in the States. He said, "Hey Cliff, could I use your car to get my driver's license?" And I would have been nervous, except that the car I had was already pretty much a clunker. So, yeah, no, someone who's never driven before, you can't do much more to it than it's already been done to. So I said, yeah, go for it. So he drove all around. I drove with him, and I taught him how to drive. And he went and took his driver's license test. I feel like he took his test 2 or 3 times, but he did eventually pass. And I don't know, I lost track of him. I hope he's hope he's still alive. Yeah, I had fun. We had so much fun just driving around, teaching him how to drive it and all of that. Blue Sugi. Now, having said that, I've been in other countries where I would not ever be able to drive the way the locals drive. So every country is different. So no knocks against him. Just different cultures drive different ways. Places I wouldn't dare get behind the wheel. All right, Blue Sugi is saying, Special Forces is airing. All right, that's another show we've been watching. I'm all quarterback from Texas A&M. Johnny Manziel's on there. We've got some NFL players, and everyone's breaking down and having tears and talking about Jesse Smollett's on there, and he's had some tears about his life. And these old Special Forces people are like, yeah, whatever. We all have our bad spots in life. You gotta suck it up, embrace the pain, and just get with the program, guys. Some of them doing it better than others. I think if I was, of course, it's easy to say when you're not there. I think if I did a show like that, things like submerging in the water or having people yelling at you all around, putting your face in the mud, all those kind of things, I wouldn't have any problem with it. I would enjoy it. They had one scene where they have to fight each other with gloves on. Looked like something out of the movie Divergent or something. I would have loved to do that. It's like, oh, this is like being a kid to have playtime again. I would love to do all that. You know what would get me? When they said, all right, here's your 70-pound rucksack, 2 miles down the road. Get down to that shed, and we're going to be yelling at you the whole time, and you better be running the whole time. That is where this old body would protest a little bit more. But yeah, I'm loving Special Forces. Don't think I could ever do it, but I love seeing other people suffer for our entertainment. As long as they survive it, which I assume they do. Although some of those you question it. It's Teresa Gaudiucci from Real Housewives. If she was on there, I would have to do a certain level, just because there's no way I'd want to get beat by her. So I'd have to put it in extra gear, at least for a little bit. I would give it everything I had, but yeah, they probably had me reduced to tears pretty quickly as well. It's a badass show. I love watching the show. All right, let's see what else. Tim Cox is saying, we love your stories. Well, thank you. I'm going to start trying to do a little bit more travel stories and all of that as we go through, just because, we're at that stage. All right, I'll throw one at y'all right now before we go any further. I was thinking about this when I was talking about the beer, the beer bottling. They were in the Czech Republic, right? And they were doing the bottling of the beer, and we were all laughing about it. One of my favorite memories, I traveled all over the world. What I always enjoyed more than anything else was getting away from the touristy population centers of these different cities where everyone's catering to the tourist. I like to do little walkabouts, get away from the main crowds and see what real local people were like. I always tried to do that. Some places you couldn't do that so much, but where I could, I would always try to do that if I had the time to do it. But one place that you could not do that was when I went to Nigeria. And there's too much, there's some dangerous areas in Nigeria that we couldn't do that. But we were in a city called Port Harcourt, kind of oil field town, lots of oil field operations there. But Port Harcourt was where I was working for a couple of weeks. And we would do our work in this big office. We'd get done and we'd head back to a compound. You didn't have hotels or anything. It's just a big base camp and security all around it. It's just, you get in there and it didn't even feel like you were in a foreign country. It was all very Americanized, westernized and all that, which is okay, but kind of boring sometimes. But there was one night where we had to work pretty late, trying to get a project ready for the next day or a couple of days later and all that. So we get done and it's 7:30, 8 o'clock. And they said, all right, we're going to send a car to pick you up, but it's going to be a couple of hours before it can get to you. Y'all need to stay there at the office, in a secure setting and all that until we get to pick you up. All right, well, that's whatever. It's fine. We ended up talking to the security guards working at this compound, ended up sitting in the security room with these security guards for 4 or 5 hours. And all we did was sit there and share beers. They had security guards had way too many beers in their ice chest for what they were supposed to be doing, but that's all right. They pulled out the ice chest and we spent the whole evening sharing beers, myself and a couple other guys and these 3 or 4 security guards, and just sharing stories. These guys were fathers, husbands, just like us. They're trying to do the same things we are, make a better life for themselves. But they would hand us new beers. But there were all these special rules we had to follow, such as you could not drink the beer out of the bottle itself. Green bottle. They said, do not do that for any reason whatsoever. And I said, well, that's fine, but why is that? They said, now pour it into a glass, very slowly pour it into a glass instead. I said, okay, well, I'm not going to argue, but why is that? Well, it turns out that all the beer bottles over there are recycled. And when they recycle them, they put new lids on the top of these beer bottles. Sometimes they hit a little too hard and they would chip off pieces of glass from the top of the beer bottle, which would then fall into the glass of beer. So they said, don't ever drink from the bottle because you'll cut your lips on the top of the bottle, but you could also have tiny little glass fragments all sitting on the bottom of the beer. So instead they would say, pour it very slowly into your glass and leave, this much at the bottom every time. And then you'll be fine. That's when I was tempted to say, I'm okay without the beer. But in the spirit of friendliness and friendship and all that, I was a risk taker and I did what they said. It worked out fine. But we had so much fun. It's one of my favorite memories because it was just a bunch of men hanging around talking and sharing stories from very disparate cultures and lifestyles and everything else. It didn't matter that particular night. So it's just one of my stories I threw it. That's what I was thinking about when I saw them bottling those things, thinking, how much class are they getting in there every time Rubina hits that thing a little too hard? So yeah, I'll always think about that every time I get a bottle of beer. All right. Big Jake 88 saying, don't dream it, be it. Dr. Frankenfurter. It's what there is at the 50th anniversary or something. There's something special about the Rocky Horror Show. Hey, and Halloween's coming up, so we'll probably be talking about that as well. When I was not old enough to drink or go hit nightclubs or anything, I was working at Six Flags over Texas, working the night shift. We would get done at 11 o'clock, 11:30. The only thing to do if you're 16, 17, 18 years old was to go to the midnight movies, which was at the local mall. And so we would go do that. Well, guess what was at the midnight movies? The Rocky Horror Show. So we would see that way too many times. So I saw it enough that I still have every single song memorized. I can sing along. For Halloween one year, we dressed up for Rocky Horror, and I'm going to talk about that more next week as well. But yeah, Big Jake, Tim Curry, everyone, Susan Sarandon, they had quite the cast for a low budget, nothing show. Richard O'Brien, it was great. I'm a big fan of Rocky. I'm going to start singing the songs down. Sharon's going to go crazy. I spent way too many nights doing that because we did 3 things. We would either go see Rocky Horror at the midnight movies. We would go to IHOP, which was open 24 hours a day, or Denny's, one or the other. And we would sit there at 2 or 3 in the morning eating pancakes. Or we would go to Putt Putt, which was open 24 hours a day. And we would be the only goofballs out there at 3:30 in the morning playing Putt Putt all night long. And we knew the guy worked there, so he would just give us the ball, say, you pay one charge and you play all night long. And sometimes we did. That was our wild and crazy high school days. All right, 753. Real quick, let's see. Lori Kelly saying all three of my kiddos were born in Odessa. Oh, there you go. Well, howdy, neighbor. Saw several of the Angels games. Worked at the Texas Instruments plant, 78 to 95. All right, so you saw from 78 to 95, there was a lot of growth, a lot of expansion. There used to not be any chain stores, restaurants. There was very little of anything. Now, last time I went out there, they got Best Buys and they've got all the Chili's and all the restaurants and all that. So yeah, it's changed a lot. I won one year watching an Angels game. I won the dizzy bat competition. Got called down. Had to put my head on the bat, spin around 20 times, and then race to home plate or something. I won that. I had to race Juice the Moose, the mascot, one time. I feel like I won that as well. And I won the best seat in the house. And the best seat in the house was a lazy boy chair set up right behind home plate. And you got to kick back in that lazy boy, and they would bring popcorn and hot dogs to you the whole game. You had a blast. And it cost like $2 to get in to see the game. Even back then, that was incredibly cheap. Yeah, I love Midland, Odessa. So I'm glad that you had a similar experience for a good long while. That was a good place to raise a family. All right, Hunter Green saying, are you going to watch Taylor Sheridan's new country music show on CBS? Yeah, I've seen the promos for it. I'm sure we'll watch it. We're already watching The Voice, and we'll watch that one with Blake Shelton, who's going to be on it. So yeah, absolutely, we'll be watching. We watch all that stuff. So yeah, Hunter, we will. All right, 755. So with that being said, I kind of teased it last week. I'll make it a little more official now. I mentioned that we're going to start having more guests on my show now that we're in kind of Big Brother off season. Next week, I got two very special guests. I was going to put a graphic up and didn't have time to get ready. So I'll just tell you, I'll promote it later. Next week, coming on the Cliff Notes Live, I'm very excited for it, are my very good friends and fellow housemate, Nicole Anthony, although now it's not, she's always been Nicole Anthony to me, but Nicole Anthony Fontanez and her husband, Brian, who I have met multiple times at Hearts of Reality, at their wedding. An incredible couple, and I'm going to have them on the show with me. They've got a YouTube channel, Our Guilty Collection, where they go and buy Spirit. They might as well just have Spirit tattooed on their arms or something, because they buy out every Spirit store, I think, with all the Halloween decorations they've got. They've really made a wild hobby out of just gathering up as much Halloween as you could possibly imagine. You know, some people celebrate Christmas year round. Brian and Nicole, Halloween 366 days a year is the way it works. They definitely, I'm going to have to go visit them at their place one of these days. Maybe not. It may be way too much scary stuff in there, but we're going to have them on. We're going to talk all about Halloween. So y'all bring y'all's Halloween stories. What are your favorite Halloween movies, your scariest Halloween movies? We'll probably talk about past Halloweens, our favorite experiences, costumes, crazy things we got into, whatever. It's going to be pretty freeform, but Nicole and Brian are going to be, we're just going to catch up with each other as well. Anytime I get a chance to visit with the two of them, it makes for a fun night for me. And so we'll still have the questions. So bring your questions, bring your opinions for the two of them, but we're just going to kind of freeform it and talk, focus on Halloween a whole lot more than anything else. And I'm really excited about it. So I'm going to put some promos out between now and then. So we'll get the two of them on there. At some point, I want to get Tommy on to talk about 99 to Beat. I'd probably get David on here. He's busy, but if I can get him on here, it'd be fun. And then we may go to some of the current Big Brother folks, the ones brave enough to. I'm a pussycat. Why should they be afraid to come on my show? I'll get them on my show, and we'll treat them right. So we'll be doing a lot of that this season, off season. Y'all give me y'all's ideas. Are there people I need to bring on here that I have a viable chance of getting on here? I'd love to have Taylor Swift on my show. I don't think it's going to happen. But if it does, boy, my viewer count's going to go way up, isn't it? So maybe I should never say never. But no, y'all give me some ideas about who y'all like to see, and I'll start making the overtures. I may, if I don't know them, I probably know someone who does know them, and we'll make it happen. So anyway, guys, with that being said, I think we'll go ahead and shut it down. Y'all have a fantastic evening. Have a fantastic week. Man, we're halfway through October. It's incredible. Enjoy your Monday. Enjoy the rest of the week. If you haven't already done so, please consider subscribing to my channel, hitting the old thumbs up, turning on the notifications. And that way you'll know every time we drop any kind of episode, anything crazy going on. Who knows what's going to happen as we get closer to Halloween and all that. So guys, have a great one. Until next week, SKD 143. Cheers, my friend. And next week, myself and Brian and Nicole, we got a trio, and we're going to entertain you with some Halloween stories. I'm looking forward to it. Guys, have a great one. I will see y'all next week. Cheers, my friends, and have a great week. See y'all later. Bye, guys.